Hello, welcome. I'm Michelle Swan Young, and I've been talking about the 3 steps toward becoming a more calm parent and bringing more calm into your life. And I wanted to talk today about why it's so important to have a plan, to make a plan for action when you want that to be your outcome. And so the 3 steps are to become more aware of what's going on inside of you, to develop that awareness. The second one is to interrupt the stress response when it's happening by using some body-centered tools to bring us back to a calm state. And then the third one is to change your perspective so that your thoughts don't continue to trigger that stress response, but instead help to keep you calm. And those are 3 steps that are very action oriented. Those are 3 actions that you need to do in order to become more calm overall in your life, but also as in your relationship with your kids. And if you don't actually put these things into practice, then it's not very helpful. As Shawn Achor says in his book, The Happiness Advantage, information is not transformation. So we can learn all of these different things, all kinds of different tools, and learning is wonderful. I love to learn, and I don't always put everything into practice. But if you actually want to have a change in your life, you have to actually do things differently. You can't keep doing the same things over and over again and expect a different outcome. So as just an example, let's say that you would really love to become a better baker, and you'd really love to become a better baker with your kids. So you would love to bake together, and you'd love to maybe learn how to make several different types of cookies. You can watch some amazing shows or YouTube videos that show you exactly how to whip up a batch of the most fantastic, cool cookies that you've seen, right? That would be learning. So maybe you sit down and do that with your kids, and you're like, oh my goodness, these cookies look amazing. I would love to do that. That's just wonderful, and you had a wonderful time learning about it and watching the show together, and that was fantastic. But if you actually want to bake the cookies, if you actually want to have the cookies in front of you, you have to go into the kitchen with your children, pull out the ingredients, and get to baking, right? So if you're going to do that, then maybe you watched that video, but you don't have time right this second. So you might have to schedule a time to and especially when you're working with your kids too, to bring them into the kitchen with you, a time that when you're going to be able to have lots of fun together and bake. And then you'll have to maybe write it in your calendar and remind yourself oh yeah, this is when I'm going to do that. And maybe you need to go and get the ingredients at the store. You need some kind of a structure around your baking, even though this might not sound a lot like structure to you. Maybe it's just what you normally do in everyday life, but it is this structure around your goal in order to actually be able to do it. So if you want to become a calmer parent, you actually have to pull out your tools and practice and do the things that will help you to become a calmer parent. And when I talk about practice and bringing the structure in, there's kind of 2 different ways to practice. One is kind of this regular practice where you can choose to do it anytime. So it doesn't require anything else to be happening. Maybe you might need a quiet moment, but you're not practicing in the moment of the difficult situation with your kids or with someone else. So that regular practice can help. The reason why we want to do that is to keep those tools at the front of your mind and to help them become natural things for you to pick up and use whenever you are in the heat of the moment. So using these 2 tools regularly can also just help you to decrease the overall stress that you're experiencing in life. And then you can also learn to use these tools in other ways that aren't just for parenting. And then the other thing is then when you actually get to that moment where you are, something has happened and you are starting to feel that stress welling up, then you've got to be able to pull out those tools and use them right then. You have to take your pause and do the things you need to do to help yourself to feel better. And it's so important that we do that because when we become a calmer parent, when we use these tools and do this process over and over and over again, and we become calmer and more grounded parents, when there is an issue that needs to be solved, when there's a problem, then we can have so much more access to our creativity in problem solving. And we can actually take thoughtful and intentional actions instead of being stuck in that emotional reactivity. We can parent more from our values. And then when we do make mistakes, and when we do have times when we don't catch ourselves before we say or do something that we wish we didn't, then we can bring ourselves back to a calm state more easily, and then we can repair that relationship with our kids. So this practice, this making a plan, I know that it can sound tedious, it can sound maybe stiff or rigid, but I definitely value fluidity and flexibility as well, and I like to make plans that will allow for flexibility. But it's so important to have at least some structure around this so that you can become that parent that you want to be. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Have a very wonderful day and take very good care.